Ladies and gentlemen, you are not ready for what just hit the streets. Imagine this, a handwritten jailhouse letter smuggled out of a maximum security cell covered in names, dollar amounts, hand-owned bombshell accusation that could ruin careers. At the center of it, Lil Durk. And no, this ain't another rap beef or diss track drama. This is cold hard scandal. We're talking $120,000 in silence money, allegedly paid to make sure someone very close to the truth about King Van's murder kept their mouth shut. But that silence, it didn't last, because now King Van's own mother is stepping out of the shadows and straight into the fire, demanding the FBI step in before this turns into another unsolved headline. Who wrote the letter? What did they know? And why was Lil Durk's name scribbled next to a cash drop and a no-snitch order? This isn't speculation anymore. This is exposure. So before you scroll, ask yourself if your son was gunned down and the killer was still out there. What would you do if you found out the person calling him bro might have been holding secrets the whole time? Stay close, because this story, it's just getting started. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard the whispers, you saw the tweets, but what just came out of a prison cell might be the loudest truth yet. A jailhouse letter, handwritten, time-stamped, and laced with the kind of details that'll make your skin crawl. Because according to this convict-turned-confessor, Lil Durk allegedly shelled out a clean $120,000, not for protection, not for promotion, but to shut someone up. And that someone may have been the only person who knew exactly who pulled the trigger the night King Von was killed. Now, let's be clear. This ain't just another internet rumor floating around on rap blogs. This letter, it was leaked, photocopied, circulated. The original ink, still visible under poor fluorescent light in a correctional facility. And in big block letters, a name that's haunted Chicago streets ever since. Durk Banks. The letter claims he made a deal. Not with God, not with his lawyers, but with a man already serving 22 life, who had a story to tell and a reason to stay silent. And now, years later, that man wants the world to hear what he unseparated to keep buried. Let's rewind. November 6, 2020, Atlanta, Georgia. The streets were tense and King Von, one of the most raw, unfiltered voices in drill music, was gunned down in what was framed as a club altercation. Media called it unfortunate. Labels called it tragic. But the streets said it felt like a setup. Too clean, too coordinated, too quiet from people who used to scream loyalty in every bar. Dotting right at the center of that storm, Lil Durk Von's supposed brother-in-arms, mentor, fangdong, and partner in everything from mixtapes to court appearances. But while Durk was posting tributes and pouring champagne on sidewalks, others were noticing something a little off. A little too rehearsed. Fast forward to 2024. The internet's moved on to new beefs, new tragedies, new headlines. But King Von's mom, she never moved on. She's been watching, digging, and when that letter landed in her lap, mailed anonymously with nothing but a burner number and the words, "Read this on the envelope," she said, enough is enough. According to sources close to the family, the letter outlines how a high-profile Chicago rapper funneled money through a third party into the hands of an inmate known on the inside as El Savage. This man, a former runner who caught a weapon charge and never snitched until now. He says he was told to keep one name out of any deposition. The man who actually pulled the trigger, and the payment arranged in 2 drops, $60,000 each, through a now deactivated Cash App account. That alone would have been wild. But the letter doesn't stop there. It names places, dates. One message reads, "Durk told me, don't bring heat back on me, bro. Handle that and you'll be straight." Another part claims the shooter was never supposed to be near the scene and that it was Van's own people who failed him. Now, you tell me, what kind of loyalty lets your best friend die while you're arranging silence in the background? But here's where it gets sick. One section of the letter describes a conversation between the inmate and King Von just 3 days before the shooting. Van was allegedly paranoid. He told the inmate, "They acting funny like I ain't supposed to be here much longer." Van allegedly said he felt like people were moving around him, preparing for something he hadn't signed off on. And the fact that this letter lines up with Van's own cryptic tweets from that week, that's got people shook. The streets are buzzing. "They sacrificed Van," said one viral post. "It's always the ones closest to you. Always the ones closest to you." A fan page reposted an old photo of Van and Durk, side by side with the caption, "One dead, one rich." Coincidence? Another user pulled up screenshots of Durk celebrating with stacks of money just days after Van's funeral. "This man grieves like a Wall Street banker." The caption read, "But let's not get it twisted. King Van's mom is not playing the social media game. She's gone straight to the top." In a now deleted IG Live, she said, "This ain't just no rap drama. My baby is gone. Somebody lied. Somebody paid to keep lying, and I want answers." Shortly after that live, a formal letter was delivered to the Feskiko field office requesting a full investigation into the jailhouse claims. Now that's different. You know the FBI doesn't show up unless money crosses state lines. And guess what? That $120,000, part of it allegedly moved through a shell business registered in Florida. That means federal wire fraud is suddenly on the table. And for someone like Lil Durk already dodging past legal fire with ankle monitors and courtroom visits, this could be the crack in the dam. People close to have gone radio silent. No tweets, no denials, just complete shutdown. One source who requested anonymity for obvious reasons. If that letter is real, there's going to be bodies flipping before the week is out. Nobody wants that heat. Meanwhile, the prison where the letter originated, Jackson State Correctional, has confirmed that an inmate named Lehan Mitchell, aka Savage, was placed into protective custody after a report that altercation happened the same day the letter started making rounds online. Coincidence? Or did someone try to shut him up before this story went viral? And it gets darker down. Apparently, this wasn't the first time someone tried to blow the whistle. According to another Exode associate who now lives in Miami under a fake name, Durk has been cleaning up messes since 2019. That man got money, but he also got handlers. The source said he ain't moving alone. If this gets out, it's not just him falling, it's people way higher. Now, let's pause because we know how this game works. Rap beefs come and go. Allegations flare up, then fade. But this, a mother demanding FBI involvement, a handwritten letter from a known associate naming names, amounts, and motive. This isn't just smoke. It's an electrical fire in the basement of a mansion full of gasoline. And while all this explodes, what's Lil Durk doing? Touring, releasing limited edition merch, partnering with brands who probably don't even know there's a federal letter with his name on it floating around in an evidence bag. But you can't run from a prison letter. You can't market your way out of a mother's grief at once. The FBI gets involved. Well, let's just say they don't care how many platinum plaques you have. They care about trails, wire transfers, flight logs, burner phones, and they've cracked cases bigger than this with less. So, let's ask the obvious. If Lil Durk really had nothing to hide, why hasn't he addressed the letter? Why hasn't he stood by Van's mom, offered support, shown receipts that clear his name? Why the silence? Because in a world where silence costs $120,000, every quiet moment starts to sound like guilt. And that's exactly where part 2 begins. That's exactly where part 2 begins. Because silence isn't just a vibe anymore. It's evidence. It's currency. And when you start attaching six-figure payouts to no comment, people stop asking questions and start calling lawyers. But here's the problem. Once the internet gets wind of a scandal this juicy, silence becomes its own confession. Now, let's talk about Van's mom because she's not playing cute. After that letter leaked, she didn't just post cryptic messages. She didn't just unfollow people. No, she hired a private investigator, a real one. Word is this pie used to work on financial crimes for the state of Georgia. He's now digging through old wire transfers, burner account activity, and even revisiting Van's own text messages from the week leading up to the shooting. And that's where things get icy, because according to people close to the family, there were screenshots found in Van's iCloud messages between him and someone saved only as BD, believed to be short for Big Durk. In one of those messages, Van allegedly says, "If I don't make it out this weekend, tell mama I love her. Too many eyes on me. I think it's my own N***. That's the kind of message that makes you stop breathing. Let's keep it real. People been side-eyeing Durk since day one. It's not like this is some squeaky clean role model. This is the same man who rapped about catching posted cryptic captions the night Van died, and who conveniently wasn't even at the scene when it all went down. Fans always wondered why Durk, who was glued to Vaughn for years, was suddenly absent on the one night things exploded. And no, with this letter surfacing, we might have our answer. The informant, L. Savage, says Durk didn't just pay to cover up someone else's crime. He says Durk knew it was coming. That there were conversations before the shooting that Vaughn was getting too hot, too reckless, too unpredictable. And with millions of dollars tied into brand deals, tour packages, and major label expectations, Van's impulsiveness had become a liability. Sound familiar? Because we've seen this script before. Tupac, Biggie, Nippy. A star shines too bright, becomes too powerful. And suddenly, someone from the inner circle pulls the plug. Now, here's where it gets even more sinister. L. Savage claims the $120,000 wasn't the first payment. It was Thelis. He says there was a pattern. Small payments made to different individuals connected to the original altercation. One guy got $8,000 for legal fees. Another got $20,000 wired through a record label intern. It was a trail of hush money, so sloppy. It's a miracle it took this long to blow up. And let's not forget Durk had motive to clean up. He was already facing charges when Van died, being connected to another shooting that could have been a career ender instead. What happened? He bounced back stronger. Labels rallied behind him. Streams skyrocketed. He went from potential co-defendant to polished Brenda. You starting to see the pattern. Fans are doing their own detective work now. stitching together Van's interviews, IG lives, tweets, and lyrics, trying to piece together his final weeks. One viral TikTok breaks down a 30-second clip from Van's last live, where someone off camera says, "Durk, say chill." Van shakes his head and says, "Nah, I ain't chilling." Another IG user posted a screenshot from an old video shoot, zooming in on Durk's phone in the background. Why was he texting? It's done right after the fight started. The caption asks, real or edited? Doesn't even matter. The conspiracy is already cooking. And no, the heat's reaching the industry. Multiple rap blogs have picked up the story. TMZ hasn't touched it yet, but whispers say they've reached out to the FBI for comment. And when King Von's mom tweeted, "It's all unraveling now. You should have kept that money." The post hit 400,000 views in 2 hours. She deleted it, but screenshots live forever. Meanwhile, Durk's camp. Total silence. Except one thing, a mysterious post went up on an alt account linked to one of Durk's security team members. It read, "Don't believe the hype. Papers get forged. Clout is a disease, but fans aren't buying it." Forged? So, you're not denying the letter exists, just that it's fake. Sounds shaky. One reply saying. Another fan commented, "Y'all were quick to sue bloggers for less. Why not deny this with lawyers?" It's a good question. And speaking of legal moves, rumor has it Durk's attorney quietly filed a cease and desist against a mid-sized blog that published scans of the prison letter. But the blog took it down without confirming the letter was fake. Why not fight it publicly? Why not clear the air with one tweet? Because maybe, just maybe, Durk doesn't want the feds sniffing around those wire transfers, because maybe someone else has the original copy of that letter, and maybe that someone's already made a deal. We've seen it happen before. Rappers get too cozy. They think their money protects them. But when the paper trail hits the desk of a federal agent, suddenly it's not rap lyrics anymore. It's conspiracy, obstruction, witness tampering, ... And with King Van's mom knocking on the FBI's door, you better believe things are moving behind the scenes. Word is the Bureau's cybercrime unit is already combing through dormant Cash App accounts linked to 022 affiliated names. That burner number from the envelope traced the iCloud login from Van's backups. Subpoena. This isn't just rumors anymore. This is, and the streets are reacting accordingly. DJs are skipping dirt tracks and tribute sets. Underground podcasts are pulling up old court docs. Former affiliates are going dark or issuing vague. God bless everybody. Pause. You know what that means? Someone knows something, and they're waiting to see who flips first. But here's where the fear really kicks in. If Durk falls, he's not falling alone. The story doesn't end with one letter. Bekezelsov's letter hints at a network, a team of people who helped shuffle money, coach statements, and keep eyes off the real shooter. If that's true, and if the feds decide to pursue conspiracy charges, we're talking RICO time. And y'all know what happens when the feds say conspiracy. They don't miss. The industry's been quiet about this, hoping it fades. But this is King Von we're talking about. The man whose death shifted the entire Chicago scene. The man who left behind unfinished albums, broken fans, and a grieving mother who's tired of playing polite. And as this chaos unfolds, fans keep asking the same question. Why isn't Durk saying, is he scared? Is he guilty? Or is he waiting for someone else to take the fall again? Because let's not forget, this isn't the first time Durk's name's come up in suspicious silence. Back in 2014, there were rumors of another hush payment after a Southside shooting. Never confirmed, never denied, just buried. Sound familiar? And now that Van's mom has gone public, now that she's put her name, her tears, her pain on the line, this can't be swept under the rug. The Jailhouse letter was just matched. The fire's already spreading. So now the clock's ticking. Durk has 3 options. Stay silent and hope hype blows over. Low, you're up and deny everything, or flip the narrative before someone else does. But from what we've seen, he's already too late. And that's where part 3 begins. Too late to clean it up. Too late to deny it. Too late to spin this as just another internet conspiracy. Because when you've got a grieving mother, a federal agency, and a jailhouse confession, your only defense left is hoping people are too distracted to notice. But this time, they noticed the pressure cooker finally exploded last night when a second letter allegedly written by the same inmate, El Savage, leaked online through a burner Instagram account. This one wasn't polite. It wasn't cryptic, that it was a direct threat. Straight up calling out Durk, saying, "You left me in here to rot. I got nothing else to lose." And in this new letter, El Savage claims he has audio. An old prison phone call from 2021 where someone from Durk's camp told him to stick to the plan and that your people will be taken care of. That phrase, "stick to the plan," is pokey. Now, trending across Twitter, TikTok, Reddit, fans are making conspiracy breakdowns, edits, memes, and somewhere in the chaos, Durk's silence keeps growing louder. Meanwhile, Van's mother, she just gave her first official sit-down interview. Number IG lives. No angry tweets. This was professional. Aired on a digital news platform with 3 million subscribers. And her words, ice cold. "I'm not here for revenge." She said, "I'm here for truth. My son was set up, not be strangers, by people he called family. If the FBI won't help me, I'll take this to Congress if I have to." And she's not bluffing. Insiders claim Shoes already secured a civil rights attorney, one with federal court experience. That means depositions. That means subpoenas. And if the court compels Durk or anyone else named in Thelators to testify under oath, this thing could unravel faster than anybody expected. And just like that, the blogs flipped. The same platforms that were posting tour photos and music video teasers are now uploading Durk's downfall timelines. Side by side, screenshots, voice memo, speculation. TikTok zooming in on his facial expressions during interviews, like they're reading body language at a poker table. And now even other rappers are getting pulled in. A verified source from the Atlanta DA's office claims Durk's affiliation with multiple gang figures is under quiet review again. Yes, they cleared him before, but this new money trail might change that, especially if that shell business in Florida is tied to known affiliates. That's not just witness tampering, that's racketeering. And let's talk about fear, because that's the currency now. A former bodyguard, now living out of state under a different name, posted anonymously on Reddit claiming he knows more than he should. In his words, "They tried to pay me to disappear, too. I said, no. They laughed. Then I started getting followed. Cameras outside my house. My brother got jumped. I moved states the next week. This isn't a rap beef anymore. This is straight up criminal paranoia." And Durk, still no public statement, no live, no press release, no lawyers speaking on his behalf. Just a suspicious drop in social media activity and a postponed upcoming show in Philadelphia. His team blames logistics. Fans blame guilt. But here's the wildest twist. According to leaked emails from a high-profile PR firm, Durk's camp allegedly contacted a crisis management team 2 weeks before the letter leaked. That's right, before the public ever knew about it. That email, dated and timestamped, requested immediate preemptive strategy options for sensitive legal and image concerns. Now, why would someone prepare damage control before the damage even happened unless they knew it was coming? And that points to one thing. Somebody flipped. Could it be someone in the intern who handled the transfers? Whoever it was, they warned Durk's people, and they still couldn't stop the explosion. Now, let's zoom out. What happens if this letter, the payments, and the audio checks out? Best case for Durk, civil lawsuit, reputation shattered, endorsement deals gone. Worst case, criminal charges, federal indictment, and depending on how many people were involved, RICO level fallout. And if Van's mom gets her day in court, if the feds actually act on her petition, we're looking at the biggest rap trial since Young Thug's. And this time it won't be over song lyrics on lyrics. It'll be over money, manipulation, and the murder of a young man who thought he was safe among his own crew. Let's not forget who King Von was. Loved by the streets, feared by his enemies, respected by his peers, and betrayed allegedly by someone he called twin. That's the pain here. This isn't just a legal mess. It's a spiritual one. Fans feel it. The streets feel it. Even some of Durk's closest former friends are pulling back. One Chicago DJ tweeted, "When the smoke clears, a lot of y'all going to regret the silence." Another artist posted, "We all knew Van had enemies. We just didn't think he'd get backed by someone from the table." And now everyone's watching. The labels, the feds, the streets, all waiting for the next shoe to drop. So, here's the real question. If Durk's guilty, how long can he keep the truth from coming out? And if he's innocent, why isn't he fighting back? Because in this world, the quietest man in the room isn't always the cleanest. And if you think this is over, think again. Because just as we were wrapping this story, something else leaked. A third letter, only this time, not from jail. From someone claiming to be Van's ex, who says she has screenshots from Van's old phone showing exactly who warned him to lay low the night before he died. Guess whose name came up again? Yeah, Durk's due. So, ask yourself, viewer, what would you do if your closest friend ended up dead, and every breadcrumb kept leading back to someone you once called family? Would you let it go? Would you stay silent? Or would you blow the whole thing up and take the truth to the grave? Because that's exactly what's happening here, except the grave is already filled. And now, somebody has to answer for it. Truth always leaks, and when it does, no amount of fame, followers, or flashy distractions can hold it back. So stay locked in. This isn't just about rap. This is about power, money, betrayal, and a mother's fight for justice. And if this letter is real, then the game just changed forever. Before you click away thinking this was just another internet scandal, ask yourself one last question. If King Van's own mother is willing to go to the FBI, willing to say Lil Durk paid off a witness, willing to risk everything to bring the truth to light, why would she lie? Why would a mother who lost her son in front of the world fabricate a federal investigation? The tears, the letters, the silence from Durk's side. It all points in one direction. And it's not looking good for the man once seen as Van's big brother. But maybe this isn't just about Van. Maybe this is about how many times we've seen this play out in hip-hop. One star rises, one star falls. The labels win, the fans mourn, and the truth, it gets buried beneath platinum plaques and publicists. But not this time. If you believe in exposing the truth, if you believe in holding powerful names accountable, then don't just watch. Comment your thoughts below. Do y'all think Durk paid to silence the truth? Should the FBI step in before this disappears again? Hit that like button to boost this story where the mainstream wants. Subscribe if you want the real stories they don't want you to hear. And turn on that notification bell because what we're about to drop next makes this look like just the beginning.